Hey everybody, I'm Oliver Joyce from Whiskeybarrel Studios and welcome to part 5 of my Ask Me Anything series. We're up to 5 of them, can you believe it? When I started this last year, I wasn't sure how popular it would be, but it's been really great to be able to connect with fans and get comments. And I'm always honored and kind of amazed that people want to know about me and my games. So let's get stuck into part 5. And firstly, let me apologize for not putting the names of the questions up on the text of the screen. It's a long sentence. I'd like to do it, but some of the questions and comments are just quite long and they wouldn't fit on the screen. Plus, this is a one-take video. I'm just doing it all in one go, so it's kind of too much editing involved. This is going to be one long shot video. I'll probably divide it into 2 parts, see how we go. It depends on how long it is, but let's just jump in with question 1. Land Rover Range Rover Evoke 2 asks, I have one question. Are we going to be able to play as an automaton without editing the save files in Swords and Sandals 6? Absolutely you are. It's pretty well known that automatons will be back for Swords and Sandals 6. And you certainly will be able to play as an automaton character. You'll be able to make one. For those who don't know what automatons are, they're basically the sort of Terminator robot style characters that ran the tournament in Swords and Sandals 3. And you could certainly play as them in the multiplayer version, but I don't think you could in the single player version. Kawa of 0M, I hope I pronounced that right, asks 2 questions. That offer of buying a premium game of yours in mobile and getting $5 off in a PC game of yours is still going. How does it work? How do you get a coupon on Steam? That is handled by my business partner and publisher, eGames. So if you want to know more, go to support@egames.com. I don't mean to be passing the buck here, but I don't know how it works. I make the games, he handles the sort of the sales and promoting side of things. And I think with this one, you basically just even just screen capture the receipt of a game and set it in, and then he will sort you out. But it's definitely a legit thing, and a lot of people have used that already. So if you have the mobile version of the game and you want to get a discount, there is a way around it. So yeah, support@egames.com. Number 2 is, what are your thoughts on pineapple in pizza? I'm a big fan. I'm an Australian, and of course Australians do things a little differently, and ham and pineapple pizza is, if not the most popular pizza in Australia, it's certainly one of them. So what can I say? I know it's a controversial answer, but I'm all for it. Thumbs up. And thank you for your comment. All right, Ela Omego asks this pretty dense question here. It's well thought out. Is Tritonia smaller or bigger than Earth? Because the description in Tome of Lore says the events of Swords and Sandals all take place on the world of Tritonia, a small Earth-like world. But the description of Admiral David Robinson says when the great man finally retired at age 82, he'd sailed the equivalent of over 70,000 leagues on the Tritonian oceans, far enough to circle a globe 3 times over. And now if you divide 70,000 by 3, it's 20,333 leagues. So roughly to circle the globe, you need 23,000 leagues. If you convert it to kilometers, it's, Anyway, what he's basically saying here is that the numbers don't add up. And let's go with, it is a large Earth world. So I've actually changed that in the Tome of Lore to reflect that, because I saw this question earlier and I thought it was remarkable, the maths that you put into that. It's a bigger Earth world. It's the 4th of 5 planets in the Tritonian system. And it's bigger than Earth. I don't know how much bigger. I kind of popped the number of 70,000 leagues out of the top of my head. So let's just say it's bigger than Earth, but not sure how much bigger. Admiral David Robinson, of course, is a play on the Admiral David Robinson of the San Antonio Spurs, who is my favorite basketball player and the guy that got me into the NBA, a real legend. And I wanted to honor him by putting his character in Swords and Sandals, even though it doesn't look like him. Ida Omago also asks, what happened to the muskets used in Pirates and why didn't they use them in the Crusades? And this is actually a question that has been asked a bunch of times. And it makes sense because in Swords and Sandals Crusader, there is no gunpowder and there's no cannons, which would, obviously be more powerful than bows and arrows. But in Swords and Sandals 3, you can get muskets and that kind of thing. So why aren't they mass used? The reason is gunpowder is very, very rare and only certain islands in small pockets of Tritonia have the materials to make gunpowder. So most people just can't afford it. It's ridiculously expensive. It'd be like putting, gold dust in your rifles. And it was worth it in Pirates because there was, a lot of it and there was a resource scramble. But by the time they got to Crusader, most of it had been used up and it's prohibitive. So there you go. Yeah, and that's the reason to why there are catapults instead of cannons, because gunpowder is far too expensive and, very short supply. Raheem asks, will guitars ever make a return to Swords and Sandals as a weapon class? Absolutely they will. Guitars were one of those fun things that I love putting in Swords and Sandals 3, and they were a bit controversial, but people, I think, seem to like them more than they didn't. And they will absolutely make a return to Swords and Sandals 6 as usable weapons because, of course, the automatons are coming back. Raheem also says they're pretty fun to play with Swords and Sandals 3, and the concept of a gladiator with virtuoso is awesome. I think so too. I've always liked the kind of marriage of rock music and guitars and so on. And the music in Swords and Sandals 6, I'm actually teaming up with a great composer called Electro to do a sort of 80s theme for the music in this game. That's not 100% locked in, but we're pretty sure that's going to be the music. And you're going to be finding sort of really cool, like, Eye of the Tiger style songs, St. Elmo's Fire. That kind of music will be the soundtrack for the game. And of course, guitars, rock and roll is going to be a big part of it. Because I want to get back to the more crazy side of Swords and Sandals. It's been kind of a bit more traditional and, classic role-playing in the last ones. But I love the zany side of it, and I felt like I've gotten away from that a little bit. Raheem says, cheers and keep up the brilliant work. Thanks, man. Thanks for being a fan. Niao Piao asks, have you ever thought about making an RPG with the Swords and Sandals universe, an open world game kind of like Skyrim, but Swords and Sandals textures and mechanics? I'd love to see someone do a mod of that. That would be unreal. If you have Skyrim and you want to mod it with some Swords and Sandals characters, be my guest. I'd love to see it. There is a plan for a role-playing game called Constellation Mirror, which I've talked about in prior videos. That's going to be more like an Ultima game, a single-player adventure, top-down, classic role-playing game, turn-based. The open world thing doesn't really appeal to me just because it's way too much work for one person. And I've seen people try to make games solo like that. It just ends up being a mess. It's so hard to do. Not to say it can't be done, but for me, I usually give myself a year, maybe 2 years to make these games. Constellation Mirror will be easily 2 years, but it'll be single player. But yeah, I do want to make a Sword and Sandals game that's sort of set in a larger world of Brandor and Tritonia, because there's a lot I want to show you guys about those worlds. Omar Latif writes, please talk about Sword and Sandals comma glitch. Hello from Egypt, by the way. Hello, Omar. And Egypt, man, what a country. I love Egypt. I went there in the early to mid 2000s, a long time ago. I spent a couple of weeks there and I loved it. I went to Aswan and Luxor and, all the tourist places, and climbed Mount Sinai, and, it was stunning. I've always loved Egypt and Egyptian history, and it lives up to the hype. It's a stunning place with tons of history and cool people as well, of the people I met. He says the common glitch. Yeah, so for those who don't know about the common glitch, it was basically a cheat in Swords and Sandals 2 where you could get crazy armor and weapons and make the characters big and give them fancy stats and everything. What it was I used to save the characters in Swords and Sandals 2 and Swords and Sandals 1 using one long string. This is a programming kind of term, basically. All one long string delineated by commas. And so your strength might be the first bit of the string, then the second one might be your agility, and your third bit might be your name. But if you added a comma into your name, it pushed everything along by one. So all of a sudden your strength became your agility, and your agility became the character size, and so you got crazy results. Because I didn't think that people would put commas in their name. Future versions of the game, of course, eliminated that. But that glitch, I've said it before, but that glitch is probably one of the reasons Swords and Sandals 2 became so popular, because people would do crazy bugs in it. I'm going to do a little tribute to the common glitch in Swords and Sandals 6. Mr. Shanks, thank you. Hey there, Ollie. Just wanted to let you know I love your work and want to thank you for being one of the best, most passionate game devs around. Thank you, my friend. This is always a bit of an ego trip for him. I feel very, it's just it's honoring to have people say such nice things. Does Crusader Redux have all the original leaders? Absolutely, it has all 8 of them. I was going to put some new characters in, but it's already taken long enough. So there are the 8 leaders, but there are some special wandering monsters and extra sort of boss monsters in the survival mode, which I'm not going to spoil for you. But if you've played any of the previous Sword and Sandals games, they may be familiar. Will Sword and Sandals Crusader Redux have any DLC adding new leaders? Maybe some of the new characters in Pirates and Gravlax and so on. There's provision for it. Potentially, kind of depends how well the game does. If the game does, well enough that it's worth spending a bit of money and time putting some extra DLC, maybe an extra mission pack or something, I would definitely bring a couple of extra leaders into the game. For now, just the originals. Could you please make the survival mode in Crusader Redux easier than Pirates, because it became impossible to complete, which is a shame considering the cool Mayan-themed bosses that you can never actually defeat. Maybe we'll start the survival mode in Crusader a little more fair by starting with a full army and Colossus and add difficulties. Shanksy, you're correct. You are right. Survival mode was too hard. I've actually made it so you start with a full army and a full Colossus, and you can... the difficulty mode is not settable, but enemies ramp up a little slower, so you should be able to get to the enemy boss monsters soon enough. And there are, at present, 6 survival boss monsters to face. And those boss monsters will also appear as wandering monsters in the campaign and Conquer the Realm mode. So they'll kind of wander around the map randomly. Rarely, but enough that you might see them during the battles, and they will become, adversaries that you can meet on the field. And if you defeat them, get lots of extra gold. So that'll be fun. James Carnell asks, how old are you? My friend, I am, wait for it, 42. I'm 42 years old, so I'm an old timer, and I'm probably twice as old as many of you who are Sword and Sandals fans. So, I've lived full and long life, and I don't have many years to go. No, not true, hopefully. I've been around for a while. I made Sword and Sandals 1 when I was 25. I actually started working on the series when I was, early teens, 10, 11, 12. I came up with the World of Brandor and so on. And I made versions of Sword and Sandals as text adventures and so on before they finally were released, in my mid-20s. So... and it's taken me till now to really finally almost become fully independent. It's a long road for many of us. He's got a bunch of questions, so we'll run through them quickly. Can you do some Sword and Sandals walkthroughs to see how the game dev plays in his own game? If you go back and check out my earlier Ollie Plays series, it's a playlist on this channel. You can see me play through Sword and Sandals 1 through 5 and the Redux versions, and I give you a few insights about the game, so it's worth checking out. How's your life? My life is good. How's yours? The pandemic has kept me and my family isolated a lot, but we're sort of starting to come out of that a bit here in Australia. But as many of you know, my wife is pregnant and we're due in July with our second baby. So we'll be back into isolation for a while. But, it's a blessing, and I can't wait having another kid soon. So that's my life right now, trying to scramble and finish the game before the baby. No, the baby's going to be coming. Then the game will be finished. I'd hope to get it done before, but in general, life is good, and I feel very lucky. How's your life? How's everybody going? This whole COVID-19 thing has really put a spanner in the works for 2020, not to mention the crazy stuff going on in America with the riots and Black Lives Matter and everything. My heart goes out to everyone there. It's not a topic that I'm going to comment on in this video because it's been better said by many other people, but I'm with you 100%, and my heart goes out to everyone fighting for equality, basically. That's all you're asking for. When will Sword and Sandals be released? When it'll be started? It's not going to be released, man. To be honest, I don't even know if it'll come out next year. It's going to take a long time, but I am going full-time next year, fingers crossed. So hopefully 5 days a week, slamming out the game, working very hard on it. May not be till 2022. Having said that, I will be releasing other sort of mini Sword and Sandals related things in the meantime, so there's not this massive gap. I've got a few other bits and pieces in the works. I always do. What do you think about Sword and Sandals mugs that have the game picture and says Gladiator? Absolutely. I want to do merchandise. It's going to happen when I go full-time. I'll spend time getting some t-shirts and mugs and posters that maybe we can buy on like an Etsy store or whatever it is. We'll figure out something. If you guys know of a good store to sell online kind of merchandise, let me know in the comments. Are you aware that everyone likes you and no one hates you except the one company we don't talk about? Actually, yeah, that's very kind of you. Yeah, me and the old boss, we don't get on. We never will. But everyone else in that company are my good friends. In fact, I still work with a lot of them at the educational company where I work part-time. So go figure. It's just, we all have rivals. To be honest, I kind of joke about it. I put that in the past. It's fun to have a nemesis, but life's too short to truly hate, and I have no contact with them anymore. That's his thing, I do my thing, and bygones. And I think the best revenge is being successful, and the success of Swords and Sandals is sweet revenge. Do you enjoy making YouTube videos? Sorry, that might have spiked up the microphone levels. I do, but let me tell you something. I get a little self-conscious, and as do we all. I'm an extroverted introvert. I do get, I sometimes realize the camera's on me and then sort of get a little, tongue-tied and that kind of thing. I like interacting with people and reading the comments and, getting my thoughts out. But I never do live streams and Twitch streams because that kind of one-on-one interaction, I do find a little, I'm not going to lie, it can get to you. I used to be a salesman, a computer salesman, and I used to get very nervous talking to people, and I would overcompensate by talking too much. So for those of you who are a little introverted out there, I feel you. Appearances can be deceiving. I can appear to be very gregarious and outgoing, and I am, but there's part of me that gets butterflies and so on, especially doing videos, because I'm not a natural. I think I'm not like one of those classic PewDiePie screaming at the camera types. At least I hope I'm not. Hope that answered your question. Thanks for those. They were good. There was a good bunch there. All right, let's get on with things. Charles says, hello, Uncle. Hello, Nephew Charlie. Guess who's back? So he has 4 questions. Sword and Sandals Saga was one of the most popular Flash games in history. Oh, thank you. What do you think about making some Easter eggs in the future Sword and Sandals that mention the very first ones? Absolutely. I think Sword and Sandals 6 is going to be full of subtle little Easter eggs. It's going to be a little nod to the early games. Much like Streets of Rage 4 had some good nods to the earlier games. These will be subtle for the fans. It's not going to be right in your face, but there will be things for the fans of the first ones. I know your opinion on some music types aside the ones I forgot to ask. What do you think about Synthwave's 80s retro music? I love it. And all things mentioned to it like Terminator and the pre-cyberpunk world. I love the Terminator movie. I'm not sure about UT9. I'm not sure what that is, but synth is cool, man. I used to love making synth music on mod trackers and stuff like that. And the soundtrack for Sword and Sandals 6 will be a rock synth combo. It's going to be fun. Final one, does COVID-19 really affect game devs from their job? I think not really. In your recent video, you said, talking about weird times we're living in, but the players and world of gaming are really damaged by that. Some people think we have more time to think and evolve in ways of understanding the virtual world. PC games mainly might become the best fun time in terms of world crisis. Do you think Sword and Sandals online in real life would be a save or overkill for the real world? This kind of philosophical question, but for me, my game dev has been affected because my boy has been home from childcare and I've been looking after him half the week. So basically my game dev time has been cut in half and I still have to do my other job 2 days a week. So I'm basically working nights more often than not, and less hours of sleep, more hours of game dev. I'm not one of the lucky ones though, because I have been able to keep my other job and maintain this job and have a guaranteed income. So I'm absolutely one of the lucky ones. So for me, it has only been affected. COVID has affected me in a social way, not being able to see people, friends and family as much as I'd hoped to. For many others who've lost their jobs, this is a much more serious thing. And my heart goes out to you also, because I can only know what that's like, worrying about a roof over your head and things like games, that kind of thing, are a frivolous pastime, compared to the things that really matter. But games can provide escapism and a little bit of light when things get dark. So I think people definitely have retreated into games, and look to them. You can see game sales have gone up all across the board during this whole pandemic because people are spending more time online. So yeah. Charles is a Discord mod for Sword and Sandals as well. So hey, if you're a fan of Sword and Sandals and want to join the Discord channel, just Google it, or I'll put a link in the link below, and you're welcome to chat with fans everywhere. There's a wonderful group of people there. Maximilian asks, my question is cereal soup? Why or why not? I love this question. I think it's not, because I think soup is savory and cereal is not. You don't have salty cereal and you don't have sweet soup that I know of. Although, let me know. You can get tomato soup is kind of sweet. I'm going to say it's not. Exomodus asks, you were part of my childhood. Oh, thank you. Me and my two brothers played a lot of your games and we loved it. Sorry, my English. I'm Brazilian. I just wanted to say this. Thanks, man. Thank you. And thank you to everybody that played Swords and Sandals in their childhood. It's a true honor to have made a game that you guys enjoyed and played in school and hopefully didn't ruin too much of schoolwork. Hey to everybody in Brazil as well. I know you guys are struggling with COVID, and I just hope that, you come through the other side unscathed. Crazy times, man, crazy times. And thank you for letting me be a small part of your childhood. Axelion, cool name, says, Ollie, thank you for the games I grew up with. Man. Thanks for the happy memories of wonderful games that let me with. Thank you for the phenomenal world you created. We spend our time fighting and becoming the best gladiators, pirates, rulers, and board game players. Thanks for not ending the franchise, man. I feel lucky that I was able to continue it. Thank you to my business partner at eGames, who actually rescued the franchise from the old company, who shall not be named. My question to you is, what happened to the 3 leaders from Sword and Sandals Crusader? I'm talking about Bors, Lionel, and the one guy from the Iron Republic, Sel and Helmgard. Since we've seen Belgrave, Wolfgang, and Antari so many times, I was curious what happened to the others. They will all be revealed at the end of Sword and Sandals Crusader Redux. When you finish the game, you get a little recap of what happened to each leader. In Conquer the Realm, actually, when you choose Sel and Helmgard and you win the game, you get a recap on what happened to him after. There's like an official ending and like a kind of what would have happened if Selen had won the Crusades, that kind of thing. So all will be revealed. I'm also going to put this in the Tome of Lore for people who haven't finished the game, or will not finish Sword and Sandals Crusader Redux and so on, because not everyone has time to do that. But I will be updating the tome with those things in the coming months. For those who don't know where the Tome of Lore is, it's in www.swordandsandals.com on the front page. And I actually sorry, I got an itchy nose. It's really itchy. It's really annoying. Perfect timing on a video, right? Kevin Blue HD says, I would love it if you make a game for Switch. And I look up to you as I'm also making my own game. Oh, man, awesome. Thank you. Good luck with your own game, Kevin. Game dev is a long, long journey, but, never give up. There's many, many failures until there isn't. And I still fail now, but it's a fun hobby and a very creative thing to do. So I wish you luck. Sword and Sandals Spartacus, which that weird platform game spin-off, is actually coming to Steam, to Switch in the coming months. Last I heard it would be July. We have actually teamed up with a company in Poland. I think it's Poland. Sorry if I'm wrong. To build the game for Switch. And I'll let you know as soon as that is available. As far as the classic Sword and Sandals games come, none of them are available to be ported to Switch, unfortunately. But Sword and Sandals 6, I want to make with Switch in mind. So I want you to be able to play it on Switch. Long time coming, but yeah, all in time. Because I love the Switch. It's a great system. Omar from Egypt. How you doing, man? We're making games on consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. As to the previous question, hopefully Sword and Sandals 6 will come to all those platforms in time. Everything Shady says, are you going to use freelance translators for Sword and Sandals 6 again like I did with Spartacus? I don't know. It remains to be seen how useful the translation stuff was. It was great. I really appreciated having translators for the game. But Spartacus to be honest, didn't sell very well. And I did kind of invest a bit in translating. So, I don't know. It depends. Problem with Sword and Sandals, the classic ones, it's got a lot of random text in there, a lot of flavor text for Gladiator, where they're from, all the bits of commentary, all the random, this is his favorite food and so on. So there's way more text than in Spartacus. So I don't know if I will be able to do translations. We'll see. Mini Pixels says, "Hey, Oliver Joyce. Hey, Mini Pixels. Good to see you do another AMA. My voice is very soothing. Thank you. Some people love the Australian accent. Others don't. Question 1. I'm not too sure about this, but I don't think you told us how your childhood was. Were you born in the 90s or something? Lol. I mean, the 70s or something? Lol. Yes. I was born in 78. I had a happy childhood. I had 2 younger sisters and grew up here in Sydney, Australia. When I was very young, I lived in New Zealand with my mum. We'd go backwards and forwards. And I had a great childhood. Can't complain. A very creative dad and a very hardworking mum, and they sort of instilled in me the values of creativity and hard work, which I've tried to be inspired by them as the years go on. One day I'll do a proper long form video about my life for those who are interested. Just sort of like a autobiographical. My story begins in 1978. Probably not in such grandiose terms, but question 2, kind of weird to ask, but it would be nice if you could show us your son and maybe your wife in the videos. I might bring Isaac on for a little fun video at some point. My wife is quite private, and I can, understandably, she doesn't really like to be in this sort of stuff, so probably not her, but maybe Isaac might want to make a cameo one day. He's a fun kid. He's 2.5 now, and he started playing some games with me. He sat on my lap the other day and we played some Terraria, which is fun. We played some Mario Kart too, which is more me playing and him watching, if you know what I mean. So, all right. Do you feel like you can make a successful game with Sword and Sandals series? Maybe Sword and Sandals 6 can do it. I hope so. Sword and Sandals 6 is where it's all riding on. That's going to be the most expensive, the longest time invested, most money invested. If that goes wrong, I want to say wrong, if it doesn't sell as much as I hope it will, I don't know. I won't say I won't make any more, but it's going to certainly put pause on the franchise for a while. But we'll deal with that when the time comes. I hope, and not to say that franchise hasn't been successful, because it's allowed me to work part-time on it, and also my business partner to work part-time on it. So for the both of us, it has been pretty successful. We have to split all the profits between us. It's relatively successful. It's still pretty obscure. True success would be being able to hire a full-time artist and a full-time musician and maybe another programmer and really put the bells and whistles in. Maybe after Sword and Sandals 6, we can do it. If not, it's been a fun ride. Final question. What's your favorite food or drink? Favorite food, got to be pizza. Ham and pineapple pizza got me thinking about it. Favorite drink, I got to say coffee. I love coffee, recent convert, but if not coffee, probably apple juice. A lot of people say you must love whiskey because of Whiskeybarrel Studios. Don't love whiskey. Used to drink it a lot as in my 20s when I was a single man, but not anymore. There you go. Mateus writes, why have you removed the possibility of having melee weapons together with ranged weapons in the newer Sword and Sandals games? In my opinion, opponents with both kinds of weapons were much more challenging and more enjoyable to fight them. I think it was a I don't know actually. I don't remember why I did it, and it was probably just this was easy to do at the time because I reprogrammed them from the ground up quite fast, relatively fast. I would like to give players the option to switch weapons in combat for Sword and Sandals 6, so it'll come back. I want to bring back the things that people liked and not bring back the things that people don't. If you're going to bring back automatons, guns, and guitars back, please consider adding as DLC or unlockable C with a new arena. From my experience, many people didn't like the sci-fi together with fantasy stuff. Interesting. Yeah, I mean there'll be high level weapons and so on. And I'm going to make it so they're not insurmountable and invincible. There will still be swords and axes and classic things that will allow you to take down these weapons and magic and so on. The automatons aren't the final bosses in Sword and Sandals 6, nor are they the most all-powerful creatures. They are certainly more vulnerable than they were before, so it's not like an end game thing. But Sword and Sandals has always been a bit of a sci-fi thing in my head anyway, in the same way that He-Man had, a good mix of sandals and swords and, spaceships and that kind of stuff. Question 3, if you're going to include those kind of items, there's a possibility that you'll change the designs of automatons, making them more visually friendly. You can take if you know what steampunk is, you can take inspiration from that. I don't know. I kind of like their look at the moment. This sort of Terminator thing. The steampunk thing has been kind of done to death. I feel like it's not something a direction I want to go right now. Thanks for the links, though. I know what you mean. Steampunk is pretty cool, but I feel like it's been done to death. So I want these guys to be as they are. Will you update Sword and Sandals Pirates after making Crusader? Can the stuff from Crusader be used in Pirates in some way? Not really. They're separate. They were made from the same core code base, but they've branched off quite a lot. So probably not. I need to get started on 6, unfortunately. But I do still want to do patches and things. You've got a lot of questions. These are great questions. Were you thinking about adding some kind of color schemes for armors in Sword and Sandals 6? Yeah, absolutely. But he says, you should make them metallic and silver and that kind of thing. Yeah, so if there are color schemes, they're not going to look super blue and green and purple and everything. They'll be kind of themed. So, fire colors are, a certain palette, and ice colors are a certain palette. All to be revealed because I still haven't planned any of that. 6. I hope for Sword and Sandals 6 you want to make all armors in 3D, but I'm actually not sure if I want to do that anymore. I'm thinking about going back to 2D. So, sorry, I'm kind of skimming through your questions because you've got so many. But I'm thinking probably now of going back to 2D just because I don't want to get too far away from the classic look. Question 7. Will you add player homes to Sandals 6? No. But there might be something else, and I'll reveal that at some point. Have you considered making some more contests on the Discord server? Just like the war stories with Sword and Sandals Crusader, but for Sword and Sandals 6. Yeah, I think it would be fun to have extra little flavor adventures and stuff and have the fans contributing stories because that was awesome. We got over 200 stories, and one awesome guy, the Duke of Lies, shout out my friend, wrote, I can't remember exactly, but he wrote 50 plus stories, and they were awesome. Question 9, question 9, I've answered this before. Do you believe in God? I've answered this before. Me personally, no. I've been around a long time and, no. But I respect those who do and, what do any of us know? You know what I mean? If there's a God, he's out there. If it's not, it's not for me to say. But, I respect everyone equally. And, if God makes you a better person, then I'm all for it. DJ Crockett, thanks for those questions too, Mateus. Will you patch Sword and Sandals 3 on Steam as practically unplayable in the latest update for Windows 10? I actually played this yesterday on my version of Windows 10 because I saw this comment too and it was kind of alarming. Let me know what you find unplayable about it because I was able to get through the first couple of tournaments and didn't find any issues. So there are some bugs I need to fix, particularly with skill trees and upgrades, and I do have a patch plan for that once I finish Crusader, but it's kind of alarming. What's unplayable? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Or write at me, add me on the Discord, and there's a report bugs section. So please write that there, and I'll try and get to them. I've got this master list of bugs that I'm trying to get to. Let's see how far we are into questions. I think we might leave this one there because we are 33 minutes into the video. So we're going to end part 1 now and come back to it with part 2 later. And I'll upload this the day after. Thanks everybody for joining me for part 1. And thanks for these amazing questions. I hope that I haven't been too rambling. I'm going to continue on with part 2 questions real soon and post them tomorrow. Until next time, if you've enjoyed this video and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Whoa! And put that little bell notification so you get the videos because YouTube loves to hide videos from subscriptions. I don't know why. That's what they do. Thank you for joining me and thanks for being fans of Sword and Sandals. And until next time, my friends, bye for now.